Even if you never sat down to learn about money, you know that money is a big part of everyday life. You probably watch someone pay for grocery with cash or credit card. Maybe you even receive your own allowance and keep it in a bank or in a jar, or piggy bank in your house. Money matters because it's kind of like a promise and it's how individuals in the society exchange goods and survive. When I give money to another person, business or organization, I expect that they do something with it. Maybe I want a Tony return, or the movie ticket, or food from a restaurant, even if I'm just donating or giving my money without expending anything for myself. I'm hoping that the money will go towards a good cause. Because money is such an important part of navigating everyday life, it's important to learn how to use money at any age. Money matters. In this program, we'll teach you the basics of how to use money through three different lessons. Lesson 1 is about earning and spending money. During this lesson, we'll start by going over different ways of earning money, we'll then talk about how to spend your money responsibly and teach you how to create the buckets that keep track of your earnings and your spending. Lesson 2 is about saving and investing money. Once you earn money, are there things you can do with it besides spending? The answer is of course. During this lesson, we'll learn about why it's important to save some of the money that you earn. We'll also touch on how you can grow some of the money that you have through the act of investing. And finally, lesson 3 is about borrowing money at certain points in your life. You might have to borrow money in order to make big purchases that you can't get with the money you already have. However, there are good ways to borrow money and also bad ways to borrow money. We go over the difference in lesson 3. By the end of this program, you'll be introduced to the basics knowledge you need to start earning, spending, saving, investing, and borrowing money in a responsible manner. Are you ready to learn? Let's get to it. Lesson 1 Earning and Spending Money. So, if you want to earn money, how do you get started? And what are the best ways to spend your money after you earn it? We go over the answer to both of these questions in this first lesson. There are many different ways to earn money, but today we'll highlight two main methods. Doing a job or starting a business. Every day you probably encounter someone who has a job. Maybe it's a person who takes your order at the restaurant, or your teacher at school, or others dentist who cleans your teeth. No matter what kind of job you have, having a job means that you are hired by an organization to provide service to society. In return, you get paid with money. But how do you get hired for the job in the first place? In order to get hired, you need to show an organization that you have the right skill to work there. Usually this means filling out an application and attaching the resume, which is a document when you list all your major accomplishments and things you're good at. Sometimes an organization requires their employees to have highly specialized skills. This means that you need to receive more training or education in order to work at the organization. Education costs money, but usually getting more education can be really worth it. With more education, you can get those highly specialized jobs which also usually give you more pay. The second primary method of earning money is starting your own business. Perhaps there are jobs you're interested in doing, but you don't know any organization in your local area that's already provides. Or maybe you see the need in your community that isn't being fulfilled yet by someone else. This is where starting your own business can be an exciting thing to try. Just starting your own business can be hard because you have to juggle a lot of responsibilities as really and it's not guaranteed that you'll earn back the money you put into the business. But it can also be very rewarding because you have control over the kind of work you're doing and you can also serve your community in a unique way. So say you got a job or study your own business and now you're beginning to earn your own money. How should you start spending it? Your first instinct might be to use buy things you always want to have like clothes or games. But before you start spending randomly, it's good idea to make a plan and figure out exactly what is important for you to spend money on. This is where the budget can be useful. Budgets is a document you can see goals for how much you want to spend in different categories, and it can also help you keep track of how much you actually earn and spend. While the budgets can get really detailed and can get started with these basic categories. The first category is your needs. These are things you need to get through your day to day and can include things like rent, groceries, transportation, and your phone and internet bills. You usually want to make sure that you have enough money to cover these categories before thinking about the other categories. The second category is your wants. These are things that bring you joy and make you feel excited about life. Everyone's wants are different, but the count includes the streams of right for TV shows, or nice lease jewelry, or trips to a theme park. Even though you should always try to have your needs met in your budget, it's important to make room for your own wants as well because those are things that make life worth living. And finally, the last category is the amount of money you want to save. We discussed it more in the text lesson with it about saving and investing money. Lesson 2: Saving and investing money. So what if there are other things you want to do with your own besides spending it? In this lesson, we'll go over two alternatives to spending money, which include saving money and investing. Let's discuss saving first. If you're not yet sure why someone should save money, we'll start by giving three major reasons why. The first reason to save is so that you can be prepared for emergency. Sometimes bad things can happen in your life and they often take a lot of money to fix. If you have saving, you can have money to get your car repaired if suddenly breakdowns or pay medical bills if someone in your family is from you and they go to the hospital. The second reason to have is so that you can have achieve big life dreams. Perhaps you're interested in buying a house one day or traveling the world or getting a good college education. All of these activities can use up a lot of money. By saving some of your earnings over time, you can cover much of the cost of these activities later and ensure that one day you get to do the cool things you always dream of. The third major reason to save is so that you have enough money for retirement. At a recent point in your life, you might become too old to want to work anymore. However, you still need money to get by on day to day. Although the government often gives retirement benefits to older individuals, it's still wise to have your own retirement savings so that you can make sure you have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. After learning about these three major reasons for saving, reflect on your own personal reason to save money. Now that you have motivation to save, how do you actually make sure that some of your money gets saved rather than spent? One good case you will start is a saving account at the bank. There are many different types of saving accounts, including savings accounts meant just for retirement. However, the general idea for all savings accounts is the same. There are safe places to store or waste your savings, and typically banks put limits on how many times you can take money from those accounts in order to encourage you to keep it for later. Once you have a saving account, or even if you just have a piggy bank at home, you need to remember to continually put money into that account. Even if you put small amounts of money into your saving account each time, the money will add up over the years and be helpful to you down the line. And what if I told you that in addition to saving your money, you can also figure out ways to make your money grow? Yeah, you heard that right. You can make your money grow through a practice called investing. It doesn't require you to learn skill like you do when getting a job. In general, investing means that you set aside money with the hope that it will bring about more money in the future. Some people highly recommend that everyone invest because of the phenomenon of inflation. Inflation is a general trend of price going up over time, which means that an individual dollar has less value over time. For that reason, it probably is a good idea to consider investing and growing your money so that you don't have to worry about your money losing value throughout your life. And this lesson will highlight two common forms of investment. The first form of investment that we talk about are the stocks. And in simplest terms, a stock represents the ownership with one part of the corporation. If you buy the company stock, it's kind of like you own a little portion of that company. Stocks are traded on the stock market and their price change depending on how much other people want to buy the company stock. If the company is doing really well and other people want to buy the stock, then that company's stock price go up. If the company is doing poorly and other people are not interested in the stock, then the company's stock price go down. If you want to start investing in stock, the first step is to pick a company that you like and think will be successful in the future and buy the few of their stocks. Hopefully, over time, the stock price of the company will grow, which means that you get more money about your original put in. However, sometimes stock can be a risky investment because their price can quickly go up or down. In some situations, you can actually lose the money that you put into the stock. There are other kinds of investment that are a little less risky too. This led us to the second form of investment we'll go over today, which is government bonds. Government bonds can be a little confusing too, but they're the basic idea. When you buy the bond from the government, you are essentially loaning money to the government, and they're supposed to pay you back later. Not only will the government eventually pay your money back, but they will also pay you interest, which is extra money on top of the original amount. If you live in a country where the economy and the government is usually pretty stable, then you're basically guaranteed to always get your money back plus a little bit extra from interest. Compared to buying a stock, your money might not grow as much when buying a bond, but with a bond you know that you will always get a little bit more money back. There are many different ways to invest, but hopefully now you have more knowledge about the most common forms of investing such as stocks and bonds. In our next and last lessons, we're going to talk about one more important money topic. This is the skill of borrowing money and borrowing money responsibly. Lesson 3. Borrowing money. As we move into our last lesson, you may be wondering, is borrowing money ever a good thing? Well, it's never good to borrow so much money that you know you can't pay it back. The answer is that sometimes there are things that are too expensive to purchase without having to borrow money from someone else. However, there are certainly better types of debt than others. In this lesson, we go over the difference between good types of debt and bad types of debt, and also provide a more detailed explanation of the term interest, which is essential to understanding the process of borrowing. But first, what are the most common situations in which people borrow money or go into debt? One example is when people borrow money to buy a house. Most people don't have enough money in their bank account to buy the house with cash, so they have to get a loan from the bank, and this loan is called a mortgage. Another example of borrowing is when students take out loans to pay for their college tuition. Student loans can be worth it if you want to get a good education and know this college will help you find a well-paying job in the future. With both student loans and mortgage, you still slowly pay back all your loan over time in monthly installments. Finally, the last form of borrowing that we mentioned is credit debt, which is also one of the most common forms of debt. What you use are just use the credit cards at the store at a restaurant. They're actually not paying using money that they already have in the bank. Instead, they're borrowing money from the credit card company with the understanding that they will pay the credit card company back later, typically at a certain every month. Using the credit card can be a good way of building up the credit score, which tells on other people how good you are paying your debits on time. If you're careful paying your credit card bills on time, then you'll get a high credit score. The banks will be more willing to give you bigger loans for things like a car or a house. So with all of these different ways to borrow money, what do you think are characteristics of good debts and what do you think are characteristics of bad debts? A basic answer to this question is that good debt is debt. You know you can reasonably pay back, where bad debt is debt that you accumulate without actually having the ability to pay back. For example, if you don't earn that much money, it might be more reasonable to take out a house, smaller loan for smaller house, rather than a bigger loan for a big fancy house, even if the houses you really want. Another characteristic of bad debt is debt with a high interest rate. When you borrow money from an institution, they usually charge a little extra for how long you borrow that money without paying it back. It is called interest. The amount of interest you pay is determined by the interest rate and is calculated as a percentage of the original amount borrowed. Different kinds of debts have different interest rates, and credit card debt often has the highest interest rate of them all. You should always pay back your credit card debt on time, because if you don't, you'll find that you are paying the credit card company much more than your credit borrower, and your credit score will also decline. Knowing the difference between good and bad debts is crucial, so borrowing money is a way that makes your life better rather than worse. Conclusion. Over 3 different lessons, you'll learn the basics of earning, spending, saving, investing, and borrowing money. Money matters because it's such a significant part of how people navigate daily life, and it's important that everyone is educated about money no matter how old they are. We hope this program was a good introduction to the topic of money, that you're inspired to continue learning about money on your own and with the people around you. By handling money well, you can do so much to help yourself, your loved one, and your community live happy and healthy lives. Thinking question. The world of money is complex and always changing, and learning about money is a lifelong process. Which of these money topics would you be interested in research on in the future?